And what would you say was the biggest difference then that you noticed when you went into Manchester United?
The biggest difference was that if you're winning, everything is beautiful. You know, because the impact of Manchester United was bigger in terms of, you know, worldwide, in the amount of fans, etc., the size of the club. But if you look at when it doesn't go well, you know, at Arsenal, if it doesn't go well, you have your coach who protects you, you have your players who protect you. The media finds reasons why things didn't really work, etc. At Manchester United, you're on yourself, you're alone. You can, no one protects you. And
is that healthy?
Yeah, well, no, it's tougher, it's ruthless, and I've experienced that in my second year, when things weren't going well. I was still scoring 18 goals that second year, scoring 12 for the national team. So it's not a bad season or something, but people were ruthless. It's not good enough. Bang. And then you're on your own, and that was sort of like a period where I was thinking, yeah, but I'm not that bad, you know. I was telling myself, I'm not that bad of a player. I'm still scoring. Okay, maybe I'm not like last season or whatever, but it was just ruthless, hard. And then I had to, in my last season, I had this chat with Louis van Gaal. I think I chatted with you about it, Jake, where I had 2 very good season with the national team. Then I worked, the season, his first season, my last season at Manchester was not great. And then I had this chat with Louis van Gaal, and then he told me, okay, Robin, our ways will part. I'm the coach, you are the player, and you have to go. Your time is up. I was like, yeah, but I still have a contract. He said, yeah, I don't care. He said,
wow. Did you see it coming?
Ruthless. Yeah, towards the end of it, I saw something coming, but not this ruthless. And the way he said it as well. And then, like, a lot of things go through your mind, you know, when you get a message like that. Because I still have a contract. My family was happy. It was my 11th year in England. We love living in England. What's next? You know, my kids going to school. They have their friends and everything. So in like a split second, all these things come across. And how do you react to that, you know? And I said, okay. I said, we will see what happens. I said, that's your opinion. I said, but I have a contract and I'm happy in England and at Manchester United, and my family is as well. So we will see what happens. And I just shook his hand, stood up. I was at the golf club in Meer. Stood up and left it.
And how quickly did you decide that on the training pitch and in games you would attempt to change his mind and prove to him that he's made a mistake?
Yeah, and then, well, on the way back home, I was thinking, okay, this is tough, you know. This is so how do you react to messages like that, you know? That ruthless, that hard, that direct. And then loads of things came through my mind, and we started pre-season. Then I wasn't allowed to play in the 11 against 11. You got a ball and do your own stuff. So I was like, okay, hang on. So you try to stay calm and stay cool. You know what I mean? But there's like loads of things happening. You're playing the macho card. Like, okay, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't do this, but it does affect me and my family and my career. You know,
yeah, sure.
Big time. But I tried to stay cool. But you know, maybe at that point it was good for me to talk to someone outside my inner circle. But I was too stubborn as well to do that. Now, if I look back at it, there were maybe a couple of points in my career where I should have done that. But I was always with these kind of people who just want to help, obviously. I had that feeling like a life coach or a mental trainer. I always had that feeling, yeah, but these people will create problems instead of solving them. So I kept them at distance. And up until today, I never had a session with anyone in that way. But now I'm open to it. And maybe it's partly age, experience. But if I look back at my career, it could have been a good case if I would have talked to someone like that really? At this particular moment,
sure,
for example.
But it's often said that like the best managers are the best psychologists as well. So who would you say was the best coach you had that got the best out of you as an individual?
Well, I was lucky to have such great coaches, but Arsene was so intelligent. You could talk to him about anything, and what I learned from him as well, and this is like, I don't think he even realizes that, is that when you talk to Arsene, he's not answering straight away. Maybe you know that. He's always like, you know, he's letting the question in first, then he checks you out when you have a normal conversation. He checks you from the front, from the left, from the right, then he answers. So I was like, I'm way too soon with my answers, you know. And sometimes I think my answer is too fast, you know. I should have thought about it a bit longer. And then I saw him doing that in interviews and just by chatting to him, I was thinking, okay, I will pick that up from him. You know, that's clever.
So you were learning more than just football from Arsene Wenger?
Yes, very much. And yeah, he's a professor in maths, in German, English, such a clever guy. And I was learning as well off the pitch by looking at Bergkamp, even how they had their lunch, you know. Early days, I had my lunch like quick, bang, in, out, always on the go. Yeah. And then I saw these guys, they were putting their jacket on the seat and they were talking before they were eating, they were making jokes, then they enjoyed their lunch, then they had a nice cup of coffee. It was just so tranquilo, so relaxed, you know, and I was so everything except relaxed. I was all over the place.
I read a story Ian Wright told that when he shared with Dennis Bergkamp, and he saw him wearing pyjamas, and he said that he started to wear pyjamas because Dennis Bergkamp did on a away trip. So yeah, you're in good company in terms of copying him.
Yeah. Well, of course, yeah. Dennis was a very interesting person, character, player. It's like off camera, he's one of the funniest guys you will ever see, especially in English. So funny, so dry. It's ridiculous. It's just when the lights go on, he's shy, you know, almost, but very clever guy, and I learned a lot by just looking at him. Yeah.
So when you've spent your formative football years with Arsene Wenger, and he's taught you so much more than just football, almost like a father figure. Lots of players talk about him like that. Mm-hmm. How difficult was the conversation the day when you went to him to explain what had to change at Arsenal for you to stay?
Yeah. Well, there was actually before our last decisive chat. That was in Austrian training camp. Before that, we were changing our philosophies of how to bring the club forward. But it was not only between me and Arsene, because it was, like I told you before, there was more happening with Ivan, of course, and then the way he behaved and he handled the whole situation.
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, yeah, maybe one thing, because we talked about it before the Arsenal game, and if I look back at that whole situation, is that, you know, in that situation, I have to look at myself as well, where I could have done better or could have done something differently. And if I look back at that open letter, I didn't mention it during our show with PT. That open letter, I shouldn't have done that. You know, if you look back at that, it is impossible to, in such a delicate, difficult situation of making a transfer after spending so much time at Arsenal, to make a decision to write an open letter to tell my truth in 2 pages is impossible.
And where did you do that? Sorry, Robin, where was the letter?
That was because of Ivan's behaviour.
Yeah,
you know, I was disappointed.
It went to the newspapers, did it? Your letter?
Yeah, I think back then it went to the newspaper because there was not
in the Telegraph. I think they ran out something like that.
Yeah, so I did that, and that was because I was disappointed with Ivan, with his behaviour. But I could not go into detail about what exactly then, you know, because it's just impossible to tell the whole story behind it. And partly was the fact that Arsenal didn't offer me a deal. Okay, but so there was. If I look back at that, I should have done that better.
Because the difficult thing for Arsenal fans, even now, is, you know, we talk about the fact they didn't offer you a deal, but then when you released the statement to the papers, you said you've decided not to stay.
Yeah,
and it's that,
exactly.
For Arsenal fans, it's still a difficult period
and
to
I
get their heads
that,
around.
But
They still don't quite understand it, I don't think.
I can promise you on my kids, if someone comes with proof that Arsenal offered me a deal, I will give you $1 million now today.
But did you make it almost impossible to offer you a deal because you were so demanding, because you were so desperate to win the Premier League?
No, it was Arsenal's decision not to offer me a deal, and that is up to them. You know, after many conversations, it came clear that we had different ideas.
And what was it that you think was lacking? Like, what did you need from Arsenal at that time to convince you?
I had 7 points where I thought Arsenal could improve, and in my opinion, those 7 points should start with dealing with them straight away to be able to compete with the best teams.
Do you remember what they were?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter what points they are. What matters is that Ivan decided that he didn't agree on one single point of those 7 points.
Wow.
Which is fair enough. So taking that information on board, so Arsenal doesn't offer me a deal. They didn't agree with my views. And my views were only to help. It was like honest views of how the club should move forward. That is a very clear message.